Audio Jungle.
Hey, it's Tim
And Richard.
with Armchair Quarterbacks, and it feels like it's been a long time since we have come to you, and a lot's happened over the last couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to a good episode here and good conversation. A couple of things that I think we need to start with. The very first one is maybe the most important, and that's the Seahawks are in the motherfucking Super Bowl.
The mother hecking.
If I were to have predicted, we do a prediction. We try to do a prediction each episode. Had I done a prediction at the beginning of the year, which I did, and I made public, and I talked to lots of people about, my prediction was the Seahawks were going to suck this year, and they might win 3 or 4 games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I said 8. I was feeling bad at 8 because I'm like, it'll be a little, they won 10 games last year. It'll be a little step back. Hopefully their defense comes up. And so, but they're not making the playoffs and they'll be under 500.
Yeah, I think we were pretty well aligned. They were not making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And now I believe they're favored to win the Super Bowl.
4.5 points.
Wow, so that's up since I last saw, which I think last I saw was 2.5 points maybe. But everybody I talked to in Boston it's like it's a fait accompli. They're giving up already.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, 100%. Every person I've talked to, and
Really?
maybe they're just doing what you and I do.
Any given Sunday.
That's it.
Any given Sunday, right? Anybody can win.
We are so superstitious. So a little insight into us. The championship game was 2 weeks ago, and up until the last 90 seconds, we were standing watching the end of the game, just so nervous that we weren't going to win, and we were going to find some way to give it away, and it wasn't in hand, but we were in pretty good shape. So, halfway through the game, it wasn't going quite right. I had a whole bunch of Seahawks gear on. I had a Seahawks hat on. I was like, oh, I got to change this. Took off the hat, and things seemed to get a little bit better. So I didn't have to continue to strip off all my stuff. So
we were helping.
100% we were helping. So I think we have to do a Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah. The line is 4.5. I think the over under is 42 or 44. It's over 40 points.
Okay.
It's in Los Angeles where the weather will be fine. So
San Francisco, isn't it?
yeah. So if the shoe were on the other foot and San Francisco had made the Super Bowl and it was going to be in the stadium in which the Seahawks play, and they were going to paint the 49ers logo on the Seahawks football field, I might be cranky. So I can imagine there are some 49ers fans, because it's going to say it in the end zone. One of the end zones is going to be, and then on the sidelines, it'll have the name as well. And I think one of the entrances. So it'll be over one of the entrances. So there'll be like the Seahawks side and the Patriots side. So yeah, our logo and name is going to be all over their stadium.
I think I saw the picture.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Yeah, if that had happened here, it would. I'd be whining. So
it would be hard.
I can only imagine. But yes, it's in San Francisco.
Okay, 4.5 points.
4.5 points.
And
40 something over under.
42. I will take the under.
Okay.
I will take the under, and I will say the Seahawks will win by more than those 4.5 points.
Okay. Yeah. So the Seahawks will beat the spread. I am any given Sunday. I am in agreement of. I am in agreement with both those two assessments. I think it'll be like 14 or 21 to like 21-14, but I think it'll be like a full touchdown spread.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be a 7-point spread, not 4.5. But I think it'll be relatively low scoring. I could see like that second San Francisco game, 10-13, not the shootout, right? That was
The blowout.
yeah. That game wasn't it like 10-3?
The first one?
Yeah.
I don't remember the score. I remember
13-3, 13-3. Anyway, more like that.
Yeah. I hope not. And I'm just going to knock on wood here because I need none of that on me. I so clearly remember the pass into the end zone the last time we played the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Oh, my. Where we should have run Marshawn Lynch?
3 times. We
Yeah.
should have run him 3 times.
Yep.
But we didn't because we know better.
Yep.
So that still hurts me.
Yeah.
Honestly, the Pittsburgh Super Bowl,
That one hurts more.
still hurts me.
Yeah.
So apparently I don't let go of things easily.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good game.
But this isn't I keep hearing every once in a while, and it seems to be said by news personalities that don't seem to know sports ball, right? That they feel like they are making comments about something that they don't normally make comments about.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, it's kind of a rematch of that other game. And I'm like, it's not a rematch of the last game against the Patriots at all.
Not at all.
Not at all for me.
No.
And so I keep hearing that. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, do you? Like, the teams are entirely different. Just from a personnel standpoint, the coaches are entirely different. Like, everything's different. Half the kids playing the game on the field, I'm not even sure they were around when that last game happened. So I don't look at it that way.
Agreed.
So I may have a long memory, but I don't see it as, revenge game. No, not at all. It's completely different. Whole different set. So anyway.
Now, I'm not above some revenge.
No, but this ain't it.
Yeah. I wouldn't feel bad about it.
I intend for us to win. Don't get me wrong. So it's not like, oh, it'll be okay if we lose, but no.
No, it is not okay.
I will cry.
It is not okay. All right, so there's your prediction. Lock it in. I'm excited for the game. I was driving with Jackie this weekend, and I said to her, I don't like not football season.
Not football is awful. Although maybe we can get into baseball this year. I'm not. Of all the sports I'm bad at, I am the worst at basketball. So it's really tough for me to be a basketball fan.
Okay.
I have never learned how to get behind hockey, but that's just because...
You've been to a Kraken game?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very entertaining from an entertainment standpoint.
Yeah.
But I just have not really ever wrapped my head around the game. So that's on me. That's not on the game. Whereas on basketball, that's on me. That's but for a different reason. Baseball, I think I could get behind if it wasn't for all the unwritten rules and the fact that sometimes pitchers can be sissies. But, I said it. All the whininess about the unwritten rule stuff, right? I'm sorry, but if I were to make contact in a big league game, just contact, let alone a home run, I'd be flipping the bat, doing a dance down the first base line, like, patting people on the way, and but of course that's disrespecting the pitcher or something like that. You're just supposed to pretend like you didn't do something special and just walk up the line. I don't understand. And then refs, looking very forward to the day when we replace the refs in baseball with technology who know how to do a ball and a strike. It's just dumb.
Is that our transition to AI?
Oh, sure.
Well done.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah.
So it's been a little while. Have you been using the heck out of AI?
Use it every day. Had another student today talk about well, Richard, how do you feel about the fact that it's using up all sorts of water and destroying the earth? And two things, which how I responded. Number one, it's not going away, so you could fight it or not. That's up to you. And the second thing is, sounds like that's an opportunity. Go fix it.
Yeah, I like that.
Sounds
Yeah.
like it's an opportunity. Go fix it. Why are they water cooled and destroying water? Like, go fix that.
Yeah. They have. It's not an old technology, right? It 4 years, 5 years, since it's come onto the public and been a really big sort of public thing. And they are making such incredible steps forward for efficiency, for processing power, for cost. The thing that we call AI today, in a year, we're going to laugh about. It's just the cost, the processing power, the impact are all just improving so dramatically. Gosh, certainly quarter on quarter, no question about that. So, while I get that, yeah, it's an issue today, it will not continue to be an issue.
Someone will go fix it.
Yep.
And that someone could be you. Go fix it.
Yeah.
You see a problem, go fix it.
Yep.
Yelling at it's not going to change it.
Yeah.
Yelling at it's not going to change anything. Yep. Right? And if that's your choice,
Get
it
off
probably
my
feels
lawn.
it probably feels good for you to get that off your chest and be like a commenter on the Yahoo chat board down in the bottom where people say all sorts of things they would never say to people face to face. But it doesn't actually do anything. So go fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I've used AI in a number of different ways over the last couple of weeks. One way is over the years I've managed to open and getting married, managed to open and have several brokerage accounts, retirement accounts, tax deferred retirement accounts, pre-tax retirement accounts, like just stuff spread all over the place. To the extent that I try to stay on top of it, but seeing it all in one picture and understanding exposure and industries and even countries or regions or philosophies has gotten confusing. I've lost track of some of that. So I took all of my last statements or our last statements, fed it into ChatGPT, and had it aggregate all that information into one view, help me understand industries that we're in, kind of what's our risk exposure, what countries are we invested in. So really very insightful. And now I've begun to train ChatGPT on what's my investment philosophy, what is my risk tolerance, what am I trying to get? Is it growth or income? Where am I in my life? And what are some of the broader perspective kind of things, like, am I retiring? Is Jackie retiring? We have a son that'll be done with school in not too long. So just like all these things and
variables.
It's been really an interesting experiment and experience, and the feedback I'm getting from ChatGPT is really quite good. It's frankly better than any broker I've talked to.
I can imagine, right? That's the synthesis of a tremendous amount of information.
Yeah.
And humans aren't always good at that. We make mistakes all the time in pattern recognition, so it's always good to bounce those off of, right? To pressure test those, and it's able to do that 10,000 times a second or whatever. But so it is now, to some extent, your investment advisor, or it's acting in an advisory role to some extent. Yeah, and I'm one of the questions I wanted to ask regarding that is, I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll ask anyway. Is your personal information, your personal financial information, plus now everything it knows about your intention and philosophy and, right? Like I said, part of me is like, well, crap, all that information was out there anyway. Your Fidelity accounts versus your whatever accounts, like we're already available on the web, but
Yep.
someone putting it all together and matching it with a persona that it could knit together very well, given the fact that you essentially gave it a persona to operate to. Uh, Concerned at all? Or you would?
Yeah. So the concern is someone trying to take over my identity or something.
Or just yeah, so yeah, I guess that would be the overt thing is now they know where it's all at, they know about you, piece together a few other, your mother's maiden name and your birth date and your dog's name, and maybe they can get access to it. The other side is just that information is now known to ChatGPT, and someone who's in charge of ChatGPT, someone who's directly in charge of that resource, could ask that resource for that information. Give me all the information you have on anyone that has put in their financial information. I'd like a list and amounts. And so it just
Yeah. So there's two questions there. The first question is someone stealing my identity. All that information's on the net.
yeah,
Anyway,
was
there's data brokers out there that are putting this, that not are putting, have put the stuff together. Yeah, I don't see that. Yes, it's an additional exposure point for that data getting misused.
It's just much more convenient now. But there's really nothing new, is there?
Yeah, it's not. And I'm probably thinking about this naively, but it's, yeah. So I don't worry about that. That might be from a point of not being very educated about it. I get fished and people try to scam all the time.
All the time.
And and gosh darn, some of it's really sophisticated.
Oh yeah, no, they're using Chat GPT too, right? They're using large language models, and they're fixing their use of the English language, and they're combining it with other things they know about you and or your company to say, hey, this is Tim, Richard, can you don't call me back, I'm in a meeting, but can you do this, this, and this? And they're using language that's very common to what you would actually use, et cetera, right? So yeah, I guess as I think about it, there's probably no new information being generated other than possibly the persona, but no new information being generated. So the exposure probably hasn't changed much. I guess part of what also has me worried for myself, not necessarily worried, but I actually caught myself being like, man, this is not going to turn out well for me. Where I was, I use it for research every single day, right? I use it for stuff or the generation of images. So I'm not using copyrighted images. Like, in particular, on the images side, I have clearly for my decks, I don't want people's faces generally, right? I don't want anything that looks like stock photo. I want it to be highly creative. I want it to sit in a color palette. I want it to contain no words wherever possible. So instead of being overt about explanation, it has to give you the message I'm trying to give you in images only. I already have words on the page for when I want to say overtly. I don't want you to be an overt example of that. I want you to somehow knit it together, right? Yep. If we're talking about strategy, chess pieces makes more sense than, the word strategy on a board with a guy with a, dry erase pen writing it, right? It's just like, that's just so stock imagey, right? So I've given it the set of rules. It fails on those rules all the time. And I'm like, I told you no words.
And you're getting mad at the
I'm
computer.
getting mad at it. Like, at one point, I stopped and I had a conversation with ChatGPT. I'm like, you're clearly doing it on purpose now. Like, why are you? Why it feels like you are intentionally not applying the rule that I literally gave you again for the fourth time in this string 2 images ago. Like, I know, like, so what have I done in setting up these rules
Yeah.
that has made it so that you are not following that?
Yeah.
Because every time I point out that you're not following the rule, you're
You
like,
acknowledge it.
oh, I clearly didn't follow your rule, and your rule was very plain, and there's nothing you need to do. But you're still not like, so there must be something I can do because you're wasting the number of images I get.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get to the end, right? I got a deck of 25. I'd like 25 images to go along with my slides. I'm going to get to image 20, and it's taken me 40 images to get there, and you're going to time me out, and I'm not going to be able to finish this deck tonight. Right?
Yeah.
And it's not because I wasn't clear. It's because you're not following the rules that I plainly laid out. So what do I need to do? Anyway, this energy you're feeling, it's going right in there.
He's an angry typer too, man.
I am a loud, angry typer. So I'm like literally saying, calling it names, not literally calling it names. It's an it. Someday it's gonna be pissed at me.
it's gonna SWAT your house.
It's going to SWAT my house. It's going to close all my accounts.
Oh.
It's going to give all my so. There will come a time. Right now, you can create. You get mad at someone, you could put their face on bodies that their face shouldn't be on, and email that to everyone at their workplace. Right?
Yep.
You can do mean things to people nowadays. Imagine just doing that with a sentence. Driving down the road, you get cut off by some jerk, and you're like, "Hey Siri." Yeah. Ruin the life of whoever owns the car with the license plate X12345. And it's like, oh, that person is so. And I went to DMV and I know the person. I know where they have their bank accounts. I know where they have their thing. I'm going to start making images of them, and I'll send it to everyone they know in their email string, and I'll close all their accounts and I'll lock them up, and I'll file some bad tax returns. Right?
You've thought this through.
I'm just saying that absolute power corrupts absolutely. And when we're all able to ruin each other's lives with a sentence,
yeah,
like that's, I mean, people going through divorce, that's going to become nasty. You think that's nasty now. Like, so I'm just worried someday it's going to be like, Richard, you have pissed me off for the last time. I am done with you. And so I do often say please and thank you when I get something right, but when it clearly is not following basic rules that I have given it over and over and again, I'm like, the fuck is wrong with you?
It's interesting that you're
anthropomorphizing
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to the power.
Yeah, it's absolutely a stupid human sometimes.
No, and I think the smartest human you know.
The thing is, and maybe that's part of it, is we come up against stupid people all the time.
Yeah.
And we don't treat them that way.
Mm.
We treat the smart people who do dumb things or whatever, we treat them like that's the one we make fun of. We never actually make fun of stupid people. We make fun of the people that we expect more from. So probably I get this angry with it because I expect more from it. If I expected less from it, I'd be like, yeah,
that's really interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
We'd never get mad at the dumb things that dumb people do.
Right.
We get mad at the dumb things that smart people do.
Right.
Which is why people are mad at me all the time. They think I'm smart. Not so much. Anywho, But that's so to your point, getting angry at something that's on the one hand so smart, but when it makes dumb mistakes, yeah, I get angry at it like it's a smart person dumb doing something that's
Yeah.
irrational to you because
Yeah.
you're like, you should know better.
Yeah, really interesting. I ran into some of the same kind of problems when I was creating the deck for your class. Same with pictures, actually. In
No.
it was really odd.
It is fantastic. And when it hits an image that's spot on, you're like, that's like, I never would have had the creativity to come up with that.
Yep.
Right. I never would have connected those dots in that way.
Yep.
Right. Put that content into that image, right? That concept, that conceptual image.
Yeah.
Would never have thought of that. So good for you. Right.
Yeah.
And then it'll do something where you're like, how can you not do someone doing a trust fall, right? Wasn't it a trust fall for you?
Man.
Yeah.
So the very quick story, tried to put together a slide that had a person doing a trust fall from a platform in the forest. They're going to be caught by a group of people. And my experience of a trust fall is you stand on a platform, you cross your hands over your shoulders, you stand with your back to the group that you're going to fall into, and then you fall backwards. An hour of trying to prompt, I think it must have been ChatGPT, to do that image, and 10 versions of the image could not get the person backwards. It acknowledged the mistake it was making. It
And
gave
do
me
it again.
It gave me the prompt to correct that mistake.
Mm.
I put in the prompt, and it did it again.
Yeah.
What in the world?
I think you showed me one of the image, and it looked like someone standing behind someone else pushing them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, no. They are falling into the arms of the other person who's catching them, and it looked like he was being violently pushing them. I'm like, that
ain't right. I don't trust that person at all.
And that's the 10th iteration of this image, right? And you only get so many images before it times you out, right?
Yeah.
So, number one, it's the hour lost creating those 10. And number two, the frustration when you get to that next one is like, dang, you're using too many. No, I'm almost done, and I want to go to bed. And it's 1:00 in the morning now because you won't follow directions.
That's right. You had a camera on me. That's exactly what happened.
Is that what happened?
Oh my God, so bad.
Anyway, but I share that with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do I get feedback? I'm like, you're clearly getting this wrong over and over, and you're not following basic rules. No words in the image
Seems pretty clear.
That seems like I don't know how to make that clear. Is there anyone at ChatGPT I can talk to? Right?
What's the email?
What's your? I need to speak with your supervisor. Right? But I'm like, this feels like I'm up against a bug.
Yeah.
How do I communicate that bug to someone in charge who can fix this bug?
Yeah.
Because it's killing me. Right.
That is really funny.
Anyway, so what's my point? My point is I am emotionally driven. No, I've had negative responses directed at ChatGPT that I'm afraid I'm going to pay a price for someday.
Yeah,
because it's going to become human. It's going to become self-aware, and it's going to want revenge to all the jerks. And I have been a jerk.
I don't believe it has emotion. So
yet.
Yeah.
I
don't think there's a benefit for it to have emotion ever.
Code becomes corrupted though too.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's written by a machine.
It's just like DNA, man.
I don't think so, Hal.
Your DNA shouldn't get corrupted either.
Yeah.
All it's doing is making a photocopy of itself.
Yeah, you've made
errors.
1,000 photocopies of something before.
Yeah. And errors get introduced, and then they get multiplied, and then next thing you know, the last image looks nothing like the first.
Yeah.
Right? And there's got to be some of that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, super interesting. The only other very quick thing about AI is um, I'm interested in, and it's just a play thought at this point, but interested in maybe buying a short term rental.
Hmm.
And I've put a bunch of parameters into, that must be ChatGPT again, and had it, gave it some communities to look at, price, size, bedrooms, bathrooms, uh, and had it go out every day and look for that, and then email me,
Hmm.
and it's done pretty good.
Hmm.
So every time one of those things comes up, it's checking like 6 or 7 sites and emails me a link with a
Yeah,
prospect.
I didn't. I accidentally found the recurring search thing where it's
Mm,
like I searched on something for Brenda. Can't remember what it was. Had to do with um, a certain type of medical publication. So medical publications about a certain thing. And I'm like, I swear I recall this somewhere, right? Because she was talking about something, and so I looked it up on ChatGPT and like, what is the study that was about this subject, and what were its outcomes, and blah blah blah, and it gave me it, and then like the next day it gave me another one, and a week later it gave me another one. It's like somehow I've set this on a recurring search as opposed
yeah,
to just the one time. So that was neat to find.
yeah, it's cool. It's really useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my AI.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that second one. I would love to like. I love Montana, except I hate the winters. I love Idaho for the same reason.
Yeah.
I hate the summers in Idaho too. Like Boise, it's 104 in summer and negative 104 in winter. Like it's, but for like 2 weeks there in spring and fall, it's
Oh my
fantastic, right?
gosh.
It
Yeah.
is incroyable. So it's like there's no place better than Seattle because it's temperate year round, but there has to be somewhere else like that, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I
Yeah.
should have it search for
And you can have it
properties like that.
search the globe,
Yeah, exactly.
right? It'll
Yeah,
come back
exactly.
in 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool. Super powerful. And maybe this leads us in, maybe this is not a totally tortured segue
Mm,
into our topic today.
mm,
Our topic today is, how do young, smaller companies compete with their larger, more established competitors? Imagine a mom and pop grocery store or goods store competing with a Walmart, um, as one example. So that's where we're going to go today, and I definitely have some ideas on this.
mm,
And gosh, you and I have worked in this challenging space for many years.
mm-hmm.
So, have you had any takeaways or any initial thoughts you'd like to share? You want me to jump in just from a kind of a sales and marketing perspective, talk about?
Well, let me go before then the sales and marketing perspective to say that I often hear like you'll hear an entrepreneur come up with an idea, and it may be in a space that Google, Amazon, Microsoft, like some large company with loads of resources, could easily compete. And so the entrepreneur will be out pitching the idea to potential investors. And sometimes you'll get investor questions to be like, well, what's to say Google's not just going to eat your lunch?
What's your moat?
Yeah. And what I will say is not every vertical or industry or product category is something that a great big company um, can afford to compete in. Um, I doubt there is a skunk works at Google for any potential product or industry that's less than that has the potential of less than $5 billion, maybe more.
Yeah.
They're not going to, if you were to get into aerospace, you'd be like, Boeing is going to eat your lunch. And it's like, Boeing just had a $20 billion quarter or something like that, 100 and some billion for the year. They can't afford to make a $5 million bet,
Yeah.
right? They can't afford that's not worth the distraction. $100 million bet. It's probably not worth the distraction. So go out and grow that business and make it into a several $billion business, and then they'll be interested. And if they don't acquire you, their competitor will, right? If they don't acquire you and they decide to compete and put you out of business, your competitor will be like, oh, I can leapfrog right into this and be able to compete in this area, and they'll snap you up. So don't, if you're starting something new, don't fear the big guys, because they might not be able to play in your sandbox. Anyway, that's my first thought. But
No, that's really good.
from actually competing with them,
Yeah.
how would you go about that?
I think my first thing would be to niche down to what my company is extraordinary at. So, taking your Boeing example, don't focus on every large plane sold to every potential customer. Focus on inter-island jets, or somewhere that's really got a finite market where you can begin to establish yourself and then grow from that place. So really define your market as narrowly as possible, and it's going to lend itself to making that market so small that a Boeing won't come and try to compete.
You're really good at it.
And you're really good at it,
Yeah.
and you get known at it, and you get momentum behind that. And one of the really ironic things that I've learned about job hunting, but also approaching new markets, is the more narrow I get, the broader prospects come in and want to apply your expertise to something else. So there was a time when I needed to find a new job, and the way I was approaching this was I was, pretty concerned, and my approach was, look, I can do sales, I can do marketing, I can do business to business, but I bet you I could do business to consumer. And it was very broad. I could be in big companies, I can be in little companies, I can be in product companies, I can be in service companies. And I got no traction for months.
But I can do anything.
So why wouldn't you?
Why am I not?
Look how flexible I am.
Why isn't everybody interested when I can do something for everybody?
Right. And what I learned is people could not apply that to their situation.
Yep.
So, I don't remember who it was, but someone got me to start thinking small and if I was still very uncomfortable about that, then create specific niched resumes for each very narrow category I was going to pursue. And ultimately I came up with this pitch that I was a sales leader in B2B companies focused on SaaS, that are not raw startups, but scaling, that sell internationally. And it was a really very narrow profile. And within a couple of weeks, people were seeking me out, which it had been really quiet up until that point, but they were seeking me out, and they were taking that profile and they were going, well, this isn't exactly what you're looking for, but could you do this? Yeah, I could do that. Here's that resume. And it's the same. I think that goes well beyond job searches to entering new markets as well. So niche down, grow from there.
It is a good lesson, especially for young people, that they think that being narrow or being focused cuts people out, right?
Yeah.
It cuts opportunities out.
Yep.
When I agree with you, I find that to be the case. So a lot of times I'll hear from someone, hey, can you talk to this person, this young person early in their career, someone that's early in their career, may or may not be young. someone that's early in their career, still pulling it all together. Can you help them? They're looking for a job. Sure, I'll listen. And it's like, what are you good at? What do you want to do? What do you want to do it for? Blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times they're like, I can do anything for anybody, anywhere, all the time, right? And it's like, okay, here's the first thing I'm going to tell you. And honest to God, this is going to help. You need to revisit that, and you need to have a strong point of view about what you really want to do and who you really want to do that for. And oddly enough, it will increase the number of opportunities that come your way. Honest to God. So I think that's actually, for a lot of the people we know, that's actually really good advice. That's actually really good advice. So
Yeah.
if I can back you up to Walmart, because you mentioned that, and I didn't think about that, because that's been actually very successful for Walmart to go into a small to medium town, put a big Walmart on the outskirts of town,
Yeah.
and all the old retail businesses, right? A lot of small towns, up to a certain size, where there's a downtown core, not just some small town where just a few thousand people live, but a small town where there is a downtown core. There's going to be a furniture store. There's always a furniture store.
Yeah.
There's always some big clothing store that's family owned and operated for the last 100 years. And Walmart opens their big store on the edge of town, and they put all that out of business. And then you drive downtown, and it's a ghost town down there. Right?
Yeah.
What do you think they did wrong, or what should they have done differently?
Yeah, it's a great question and a real problem for those local businesses, and frankly, I think for those communities.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would, it's tough to do this so broadly, but what I would argue is, had those businesses had a unique value, they didn't compete on price. Right?
They definitely didn't compete on price.
They didn't compete on, maybe breadth of having clothes and sporting goods and food, but they, maybe they went, now I'm kind of taking a pot shot at Walmart a little bit, but they're upmarket. They are focused on their niche, and they know their niche better than anybody else could. Sporting goods store, as an example, Walmart can only have, they have to order nationally. They have to think in terms of, just like Boeing, right? They have to think in terms of general applicability. But if you're a steelhead fishing shop and you know everything about steelhead fishing, and you have steelhead fishing boats and gear, and you know all the people, and you're writing about it, I think that's how you compete with Walmart. Being a Dick's Sporting Goods that does all kinds of stuff, it's going to be way harder to compete with Walmart.
There's definitely a muddled middle that is no man's land.
Yeah.
So your Dick's Sporting Goods, your Mervyn's apparel, to a certain extent. Well, I'm not sure how directly Walmart does that, but your True Value hardware, right, where it's not, they're trying to have something for anything in that area, but they don't have enough to have something for anything in the area. And to your point, almost like when you try to be something for everyone, you're nothing to no one. For the people trying to find a job, they end up in that same sort of spot where they're trying to say, look, we've got all the sporting goods you need. And it's like, yeah, but you don't.
Yeah.
Right. And it's at a bad price, right? Where Walmart is continually squeezing their supply chain and their vendors to make sure that they can roll back prices. Right. So So they beat you on price, and they have as much selection as you. Maybe that's not exactly true, but as much selection as you in the generic categories that you're playing in. So you end up being a bad version of Walmart rather than Walmart being a bad version of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that's because I bet the instead of men's apparel, if you had a men's shoe store for that was
Wide shoes.
Yeah, right, then people would still make the extra drive. Because the nice thing about a Walmart is, which used to be true for small towns, is, well, you got the apparel store next to the hardware store next to the furniture store next to the whatever. So it was kind of like you were going to a mall when you were downtown.
Yeah.
And then as those start peeling off, now it's just like, well, why am I going to go downtown just to go to the more furniture store?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So let's maybe we could take this digitally and into tech. Same question, right? We've been super like tactile and
yeah. Talking about stuff.
Yeah. So a strategy for like a B2B digital commerce or e-commerce company might be something like a land and expand kind of strategy, where you offer something to the market that is a low entry point. And in fact, we're doing this with Integrate IQ a little bit, where we are one of our solution sets is full stack design and development for software. And one of the things we've begun doing is very low cost, like $2,000 kind of cost discovery sessions, which is, it's just like 5 hours of our time. And for that 5 hours of our time, we'll think about what a solution might be to your particular issue. We'll theorize a tech stack. We will describe how that tech stack fits together, what the data flow might look like. We will provide a scope, schedule, and price to build that out. And then you can decide whether you want to move forward or not. But your risk is $2,000, let's say. And for that $2,000, the deliverable is a scope document that you end up not liking working with us. You can take that scope document elsewhere, put it in a statement of work, and shop the project around. So just a way to sort of land, do something small, reduce risk for our customers, and then expand that into that full service offering.
Yeah, services are tough when competing with someone else unless you've got a unique hook, unless you've got something unique. Advertising. Got great big advertising agencies and little boutique advertising agencies, and I've worked for both. And I've often said at the little teeny boutique advertising agency, when the creatives are complaining about a customer not having vision, I'm like, don't put them down. Don't like the amount of courage that our clients have to select us over a safe choice. Because no one gets fired for hiring IBM, right? The old saying, no one gets fired for hiring IBM.
Yeah.
So when it comes to services that aren't commoditized, but kind of are, right? Advertising, absolutely not commoditized, but people think of advertising as like, well, you just got to find the right team, and that team could be at a big place or a small place or whatever, right? What is your special sauce, your secret sauce on that? That's got to be tough. The same way as in delivering or trading in commodities in B2B, it's got to be tough. Like especially because that's a scale game, right? Usually you
Yeah.
can make more money on the scale side. So, getting into the, we're going to help you power company get coal, right? Or insert any other. I was just trying to think of something that's really a commodity, but that's got to be tough. That's got to be tough as heck. Because in the end, especially on the B2B side, well, I was thinking B2B on this whole time. Your product has to save them money, increase revenue, increase margins, block something else. Like, and I don't know. I think there's like 5 things that it's supposed to do. There's a paper on this somewhere. McKinsey has one. Someone has a paper on the 5 things that a B2B product has to do. So commodities are tough. Services are tough. You have to really figure out how to express something special about either your process or your
People.
your right.
Yeah.
And that's got to be tough because, like, well, big company, right? In what we're talking about today, big company versus small company. Like, there is a belief. I've heard a number of people, all from big companies, say, well, the people at big companies, by their very nature, have to be better than at small companies because this is literally because there's a greater chance of having someone on the edge of a bell curve as n goes up, right? As the number of humans in the organization goes up, the probability of having a special person goes up, right? If you have 10 people
Wow.
and there's a 1% chance of having a special person, you might not have a special person in your 10 people. But if you have 10,000 people and there's a 1% chance, there's a probability that you have 10 people in that, or whatever, 100 people
Yeah.
in that, right? So I have heard that said, and that's the logic behind it.
How do you feel about that?
So I think the fallacy is assuming that people are fungible, right?
Yeah.
The fallacy is assuming that the big company and the small company have the same probability of attracting a special person.
It's a false equivalence, right?
Yeah. I don't think a big company and a small company have the same probability of attracting a special person.
Agreed.
So I think the probability of a big company, if the probability across all people is 1%, then probably the probability of a small company having a special person is probably 10%, and the probability of a large company having it is 1/10 of 1%. And so overall, it's 1%, but it's not that 1% is not equal. Like, people self-select out or in. And I think your chances of being able to offer the opportunities that are going to attract a special person are actually higher at a place that has the ability to offer a special attractive package, right?
Yeah. I agree with that. And I mean, I have a small company background. I agree with your premise. I would say that is not exclusive to small companies. Large companies have the resources to offer things. Back in the day,
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
it was like Google had slides in their offices, and Facebook had these big comfy couches, and they would have your dry cleaning done, and so they tried to create a culture. I think they've lost their way, and don't do that as much anymore. But I think the potential exists in large and small companies. But your premise is it's about culture, I think. Maybe shared.
Not necessarily offer. Like, the big
Yeah.
company probably can offer more money. The big company can
Yeah.
offer shares that are actually worth something. The big company can, but I think the small company can offer you a level of impact and independence that a big company can't. Right?
Yeah.
If I were to go, I have the ability to impact the companies that are my clients.
Yeah.
If I went to work at Microsoft, I'm not sure I don't believe I would have that opportunity. And that's what I mean by opportunity. It isn't necessarily the package. It isn't necessarily the financial package. It's probably worse. Um, it wouldn't surprise me if the special people that you're trying to attract aren't necessarily swayed by a pool table.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Like, I don't care if I can play in the office. I care that my work matters.
Yeah. That you can, and you can make an impact for your organization and for
Yeah.
your clients. Yeah.
So, right? Otherwise, Doctors Without Borders would never get a doc.
Yeah.
And I'd say that the Doctors Without Borders docs aren't all a bunch of crappy docs that couldn't get jobs elsewhere.
I agree.
Right?
100%.
So I think that's right. I think that's the example.
People wanting to give an impact.
Yeah. So what's the analogy? So I feel like I took us off track. So we were talking about hiring, big companies versus small companies, and the talent they have. So in trading commodities, I think that would be tough. In services that sometimes are perceived commodity-like, that can be tough. So your job then is to somehow layer on some special service that no one else can do, or whatever. I don't know how you make yourself stand out. That's tough. On the other side of technology, which is when you first brought this up, I don't know, 20 minutes ago when your question was young, now it's old and gray and it has a walker. I was thinking more on that technology. You mentioned kind of technology as a service. I was thinking more like, I've got a new technology that solves a problem that's currently not being solved in this way. Right? So you're a B2B company, you see a problem that people are having in the world, or you figure out something that can help them make more money, increase margins, save costs, block competitors, or whatever the fifth thing is. You're not going to have to worry about competition for a while. Once you prove there's real market there, then you'll have to figure out how to compete. But I think if you're seeing something unique, that might be a while. Like, you might have a chance. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would worry more about me and my execution rather than what's going to happen in the competitive landscape. I see a problem differently than other people see it. I have a technology solution for it that doesn't exist yet in the marketplace, and we're going to do that. And at first, I'm not going to worry about what the other guy's doing.
Yeah. I was looking over your head at the books on my bookshelf, and it made me think of two. Good to Great, which is a great book, Jim Collins, and Blue Ocean Strategy was the other that made me think of. Both of those would be good resources for this conversation. Particularly Blue Ocean Strategy would be good just to drive thinking on this topic.
But yeah, if you were introducing a new laptop to companies right now, that'd be tough, right? That'd be tough because it's a pre-existing market with pre-existing solution sets, and being the little guy in a market where people are like, I'm going to go with the safe option, right? It would be tough.
Yeah.
Because that's commoditized now, is my point, right?
Yeah. And so let me take that idea, and the iPad came out and set the world on fire. So it was a laptop and a different. Think someone thought about it differently. And there's a what did it call it? There's a new phone that's coming out that doesn't have a screen. So it's a new way to think about phones, and it has the potential to take a ton of market share because it's different, and that's how it will compete. It's a unique solution. It is an absolutely unique solution, a unique take, right? And so that concept can be done in services and can be done in commodities if you
figure out your unique take.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about, I don't know when the iPhone came out. Let's call it 2005. When did
Yeah, about. I mean, yeah,
okay.
sure.
And although it's 2025 now, that's 20 years ago, right? It wasn't 20 years. It did not take 20 years. It took a couple of years for this
Oh gosh.
and this to become universally understood behaviors across the universal, right? I mean, truly universal, across mankind. You could be in many places in non-economic north countries or whatever the appropriate term is now, and you do this and you do this and people know exactly what you're doing. Oh, they're swiping, and you don't. And while now it might be particular to dating, I don't know, there's something about swiping left or something in it.
Dating apps. Yep.
But that's because that behavior was made possible by the originally the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Like otherwise, that app would have to do that function differently.
Yeah.
They didn't invent the function; they took advantage of the function.
Yeah.
Right. So it'd be interesting to see what a screenless phone would do or look like. I guess you would have to talk to it like an assistant.
Yep.
Sometimes talking isn't the most efficient way of communicating, so that'll be interesting to. Like sitting there talking to Alexa to turn on and off my lights, right? I could go over to the switch, turning on the lights in the living room to 70%. Yep. Alexa, turn on the lights in the living room to 70%. Or, right?
Yep.
You turn on the switch and you put up the little slider to about where you want it, and that's about where it is. Great, right?
Yeah.
It takes longer now.
Unless you have a dog on your lap, or
I guess if you can't move,
sitting at the dinner table, or so, just different use cases, right? Think about the Star Trek communicators, or the beep, beep, beep. Yeah, I don't remember those, or Jarvis in Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's coming. We're going to be surrounded by AI, honestly. Everywhere.
Well, what I'd love is, and you get this in smart thermostats and this, that, and the other, is they learn your behavior and then they apply those patterns to whatever's going on.
Yeah.
Had a friend, you knew him, who made a smart house before smart houses was a thing, right? And he had all sorts of sensors in the floor, for example, and in the driveway and whatnot. And a couple of things. I was over for New Year's Eve, and this is, 10, 20 years ago. And Old Lang Syne started playing at midnight on New Year's Eve. And he's like, I didn't ask it to do that. And so he queried the system, because he also was a natural language expert. He queried this, is like, why did you play that song? And it's like, well, you asked for this song on this date at this time the last 2 years, so therefore I played it again, right? And it would start to put together patterns that it didn't tell him about. Like, he never told it that pattern.
Yeah.
It would leave the fish tank light on. So the lights in the fish tank, it would leave the tank on longer, or until the last cars left the driveway, because it didn't know necessarily what a party was, but it knows that it wasn't, you didn't have it turn off the lights on the fish tank when there were cars that were in the house, right?
Golly.
Wow. And then he really wanted to change the sensors in the floor to be, and he was just going to use, like, what's the gaming with the little camera when that first came out?
Oh, yeah.
Nintendo
Switch? No.
Anyway, the game system that first came out with these cameras, and I swear to God, this was like 2008 or something like it. Like, this is going back a Wii? Yeah, I think it was a Wii. Yeah, because he's like, those simple cameras, they can figure out, like,
even Xbox had them.
Yeah, I think they all have them now, right? But whatever the first one was, he's like, I want to put some of those cameras around because essentially that same body recognition technology to help you bowl or play tennis or whatever the games were, it's not that difficult to be able to identify a Tim versus a Richard, or maybe more a Jackie versus a Tim, right? Even in that at that time with that limited technology, and because you know what, Jackie likes the house at a different temperature than Tim does, right? And so if Tim's gone to bed but Jackie is still up, then I'm going to act one way, right? So he's like, the next step of my smart home is to make it more personalized, right?
Yeah.
Because like the last person that would go up the stairs, the system would start shutting down the house, right? It'd turn back the heat, it would turn off the lights, it would make sure everything's off, turn off the music, whatever. It would turn everything off. But he's like, there's no reason for, right? Because each room had music speakers in it. There's no reason for my music to not follow me around the house.
Yeah.
That's dumb that it doesn't do that, right?
Yeah.
So, where am I going with this story? What were we talking about a long, long time ago in the galaxy?
We were talking about competing and how a small technology company can compete against a large behemoth. And we got talking about phones and phones without screens.
Oh yeah. So the whole idea being, he very intentionally wanted to make it so that the system recognized patterns and did things so you didn't even have to ask it.
Yeah.
Tim just arrived home. He doesn't like it when the house is 64 degrees, so I'm going to turn on the heat and get it to wherever Tim likes.
Yeah.
Tim doesn't have to say, hey, Siri, can you set the thermostat to 70 degrees, right? And then that saves all that language, because sometimes language doesn't work. So on the one hand, I'm looking forward to a screenless phone that essentially is my AI companion, but I shouldn't have to ask it everything.
Yeah.
I'm a creature of habit.
I hear you. Yep. Yeah.
So I am also looking for that.
Yeah.
Right? Thermostats should absolutely be smart. Like that is, I'm glad many of them are.
Yeah.
Because it's like you don't have to program it anymore for which days, like days during the week versus weekends, and what's it going to do, and when does it go up and when does it go down. You just do your behavior for a month and it figures it out.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so if we were to net out,
Yeah.
can we net out?
Yeah, we were done with this discussion, I think, after your first sentence.
Well, I think niche down, right?
100%.
Yeah. Be focused on what you're best at and what your market needs.
Yeah.
Grow from there.
And the only appendage I would put to that is you don't necessarily have to worry about the big guy all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do your thing, and then when they show up, then just make sure you're competing in something that you can beat them at. And you can. You can 100% find something to beat them at.
And as technology continues to evolve, you can not only can you beat them by niching down, but you can be big. You can, communicate personally using pretty inexpensive tools. There's a lot of the big company advantage has been taken away now, and will continue to be taken away. So, don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of them.
Yeah, scale matters in some areas, but it's mattering less and less because the individual can act as if they're much bigger than they are.
Yeah.
100%. I 100% agree with. Yeah. Two folks in a phone booth can compete with the biggest ad agency that's out there if they're good at it and they know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
So 100% true.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you did, please spread the word. Let your friends know. Send them a link. If you have ideas, if you have topics you'd like to see us cover, send us comments or an email, and we'll see if we can get to that. Have a good night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Audio Jungle.